Hey everyone, it's Fentony. Episode 2's just aired, so we're going to review it and break it down for you guys. The entire episode's at Winterfell, so there's nothing at King's Landing. There's no Cersei Lannister this time around. Basically, if I was to describe this episode to you guys, it's the pre-battle, the last night, and it's really good. Much better than the first episode in my opinion, which was still a good episode, but it had some problems in it. This episode's pretty similar in terms of its pace. You know, all the important scenes happen one after the other. There's lots of reunions and maybe goodbyes. Nobody actually dies today, but this episode ends with the White Walkers arriving in Winterfell for the episode 3 battle, which is going to be a bloodbath. So the episode starts with Jaime on trial. It's not really an official trial, but we've talked about this several times. Basically, Dany's not happy with him being here. She doesn't trust him. She thinks he might stab her in the back. Sansa doesn't trust Jaime either, as he attacked Ned Stark and actually fought against the Starks. Tyrion tries to speak for his brother, but Dany's not having any of it. Jaime does reveal that Cersei had no intention of helping up north, and Tyrion's getting blamed for this. But Jaime's not going to apologise. He says they were at war. He was only doing what was best for his house and family. He'll do it again. And Bran does say the things we do for love, which is obviously what Jaime said before pushing Bran out the window. Jaime says this goes beyond loyalty, which is obviously a callback to what Brienne said at the Dragon Pit. He even looks at her when he says this. Brienne stands up and speaks for Jaime in one of the best scenes in my opinion. She mentions how he defended her and this cost him his hand, and how Jaime armed her with Oathkeeper and armoured her up and sent her on her way to fulfill her oath to Catelyn Stark and find the Stark girls. Sansa trusts Brienne, so she says it's okay for Jaime. Dany does ask Jon his opinion and he says basically we need all the men we can get. So now Sansa and Jon are okay with Jaime being here. Dany seems to accept it. We kinda get this awkward moment when they leave. Jon's definitely wanting to avoid Daenerys because of his parentage. He's probably figuring out in his head, how am I going to tell her? So this was a really great scene. I love Brienne standing up for Jaime, and I loved how Sansa said she trusts Brienne. But Jaime still has to prove himself, just like everyone else. When Grey Worm gives Jaime Black Widow's Wail, he pushes it against him. Not everyone's happy with Jaime being here. Later on you see Jaime and Tyrion walking through and some people spit on them, or spit near them anyway. But I think by the end of episode 3, the people will see Jaime as a hero. So Dany's not happy with Tyrion, it's mistake after mistake, and now Cersei's betrayal. She even suggests trying to find a new hand if Tyrion messes up and can't help her win the Iron Throne. Tyrion does reveal he didn't know about Cersei's betrayal, but did he really expect her to help? It was very wishful thinking. So next up is the first Arya and Gendry scene. It's the I know death scene from the trailer. There's lots of flirting going on. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it now, they get it on later. It finally happens. Arya's come to see where her new weapon is. Gendry hasn't made it yet. She even asks him what the dead are like, and you can see in his face, it's just pure horror. She's very confident, but when it comes down to the battle, she's going to see what everyone else feels. Death. Gendry suggests that Arya go down in the crypts, but she shows him her skills by throwing daggers. Yet Arya is incredibly skilled and incredibly useful in this battle. I could see her assassinating several White Walkers, which of course is going to kill several Whites. She is very confident, but she hasn't seen the dead. Only the people that have seen it know what's coming. And in the main trailer we did see her being chased by probably a White Walker or Whites, and she does seem like she's panicking. I will talk more about Gendry and Arya later on when we come to their sex scene, but they have great chemistry together. Obviously Gendry went missing after season 3, didn't come back till season 7. A lot of fans have been waiting for this moment for a long time, and it didn't disappoint in my opinion. So we get a Jaime and Bran scene, and it played out exactly how I thought. Bran says that Jaime had to push him out of that window to become the man he is now, and Bran had to fall out of that window to become the Red Raven. So Bran's not angry with Jaime for pushing him out of the window, and he didn't mention it to the others because they might have murdered him and they need his help. Yeah, this episode really makes me feel that episode 3 might be the end for Jaime. He had a lot of screen time in this episode, a lot of big moments for him. Jaime does ask what's going to happen afterwards, but Bran does say, how do you know there's going to be an afterwards? Has Bran seen a glimpse of Jaime's future? Jaime is on my death prediction list. I don't think he's going to make it out of Winterfell. So even more Jaime scenes, this episode's full of them. Jaime and Tyrion talk. They talk about Dany being different than the Mad King and the other past Targaryens. Jaime does confirm that Cersei is pregnant, but she used it to increase her lie. Now she likes to bend the truths to make her lies more believable. Tyrion knows he messed up in season 7 and with Cersei. In my opinion, Tyrion has suffered the most from the lack of source material from the books. I had no issues with him in episode 1, but I really liked him in episode 2. He does mention how he wants to die, and we get some very interesting dialogue. He says at least Cersei can't kill him, but if he becomes a White, he might go down to King's Land and rip her apart. So Cersei doesn't appear in this episode, but she gets mentioned quite a lot, and Tyrion is one of the favourites to kill her. I don't think he will, but he might, you never know. Cersei's death is definitely going to be a massive moment. We just don't know how it's going to happen or who's going to do it. So as Tyrion's talking, Jaime actually wanders off and he sees Brienne from a distance. They go down and see her, and she's actually commanding the left flank, so she's got quite a lot of responsibility. You get the usual Jaime and Brienne conversation. She's actually waiting for an insult from Jaime, but he's not here to insult her. It kind of felt like he was going to say he's came to Winterfell because of her. He doesn't actually say that, he kind of cuts himself off, and he does say he's not much of a fight now, but he would be honoured to serve under her command. So this is a big Brienne and Jaime episode. I love it when we get scenes like this. They don't actually get it on in this episode, but it's definitely building up and up and up. I think eventually they're going to say something and they'll give in to their feelings. They're going to be fighting side by side, and I think one of them is going to die. I think they have to share a kiss on the battlefield. Pod's one of my favourite characters in this episode. He's getting much better at fighting, he's actually training people, and his song later on really gave me chills. Also, if you look around, Winterfell's definitely been prepared for the Night King. Dragonglass has been mounted on the walls, there's ditches, there's spikes, and even a collapsing bridge. So next up is a Jorah and Daenerys scene where they talk about Jorah's betrayal, but Daenerys has told him several times that she's already forgiven him. Jorah was heartbroken when Tyrion was named Hand of the Queen, but Dany said she didn't know if she'll ever see Jorah again. But Jorah does say that Tyrion was the right choice. He knows he's messed up, but he thinks Dany has to forgive Tyrion and keep him as Hand. So Jorah gets a lot of screen time in this episode. In fact, a lot of side characters do. Jon Snow took a back seat in this episode, so it gives a lot of side characters more time, and I'm very happy about that. Season 7 was kind of the Jon Snow and Daenerys show, but Season 8's found the right balance. At the end of the scene, Jorah asks Dany for something. We're not exactly sure what that is. The next scene goes to Sansa. Maybe that's what Jorah asked for, maybe to try and make peace with Sansa, but it could be something else. So we get to the Dany and Sansa scene. There's lots of one-on-one scenes in this episode. Dany actually thought her and Sansa were going to agree on not trusting Jaime. Sansa sticks up for Tyrion, but Dany's still angry with him. Sansa says he's a good man, but he shouldn't have trusted Cersei. Dany says her and Sansa have a lot in common. They've got complicated families, they've led people who are not happy with women ruling, but they've done a good job at it. But they seem to be odds of each other. They've got so much in common, but they just can't get along. Sansa says that Jon loves Dany, but men do stupid things for women. Dany said that she was all for the Iron Throne, but now she's fighting Jon Snow's war because she loves him. This makes Sansa say that she should have thanked Dany for coming to help. They actually touch hands, it looks like they're getting very close. They talk about Cersei, they even joke about Jon Snow's height. This seems like the first time they're getting on, but Sansa wants to know what happens to the North when Dany takes Iron Throne, and this causes Dany to back off a bit. She removes her hand. But before we get the answer we're waiting for, Maester Walken arrives, and Theon Greyjoy's back at Winterfell. We knew he was coming up, and we get a very touching scene with Sansa. They hug, and I'll admit tears were coming at my eyes. So two really good scenes, the Sansa and Dany scene especially. I loved how they're starting to get on, but there's obviously still tension there, especially with the Northern situation. It seems like Sansa wants the North to stay independent. I could see that actually happening. Maybe once the war's over and Cersei's been defeated, Dany gives the North back its independence and Sansa becomes the queen in the North. So the next scene hit me. It just makes you feel that you know that so many are going to die. The episode's really setting up the battle, but it's not just with plot, it's also with the characters. It makes you really feel for them. Davos and Gilly are giving out food, and a man tells Davos they're not soldiers. But like Jon says, everyone has to fight, or at least the people that can. Davos gives the man a boost saying he's not a warrior himself, but he survived the Battle of the Bastards. And if he can survive that, they can survive this. It does give the man a morale boost, but really this is a much bigger battle with much more at stake. They're not fighting human enemies here. Gilly tells a few people to go down in the crypt, and this little girl tells Davos that she wants to fight. There's a mark on her face and it really reminds Davos of Shireen. Gilly tells the girl she'll feel much better if her down in the crypt defending them. Wow, this scene was really good. It really hit me. Even though we don't know their names, you really feel for them. Everyone's preparing for the worst. So horn blows and the Night's Watch, Tormund and Beric are here. They manage to go around the dead and beat them to Winterfell. I love Tormund and Jon scenes. They were once enemies but now good friends. So Tormund tells Jon about the last hearth and the dead are close. They'll be here before the sun comes up tomorrow. Even though the world's going to end, you know, the Night King's on his way, there's always time for humour. Tormund asks, is the big woman still here? More Tormund screen time, love it. I said earlier the side characters really get to shine and I'm very happy with that. So we get to that War Council scene and there's a lot happening here. Jon says they have the Dragonglass, they have Lyrian Steel, but the dead are far too many. They can't win in a straight fight, they have to have a plan. Jon's plan is to kill the Night King, and because he created all the Whites and the White Walkers, everything should die. Bratton wants to be used as bait as he knows his Night King's coming for him. He says the Night King has tried to kill many Free Ravens before, many times. He wants an endless night and to erase the world. Bran says that he's the world's memory as he can see everything. Sam compares death to forgetting. So Bran's the target of the Night King, and the mark from season 6 means that he knows exactly where Bran is at all times. So that's why he's coming to Winterfell, he's coming for Bran. So Bran's plan is to stay in the Godswood and lure the Night King there. The Stark girls are not happy with leaving Bran unprotected, but Theon says that he'll stay with him. Tyrion's plan is to light a trench on fire as the dead come close, but Dany says that he needs to stay down in the crypt, as he's far too valuable and she needs him to become the queen. Jon wants the dragons to be near Bran, and Arya even suggests blasting the Night King of Dragonfire, but even Bran doesn't know if that's going to work as no one's ever tried it before. But I don't think it's going to work. I think killing the Night King's not going to be easy. You know, it can't be done by a sword or Dragonfire. I think he'll walk right through the flames. I think the Night King's going to reach the Godswood. I think Theon's probably going to die there. I think the Night King will probably be stabbed by Dragonglass and Valyrian Steel, but it's going to do nothing. He's far too powerful. I don't know how you kill him, but it's not going to be easy. If Bran's in the Godswood and this goes down, it's likely he's going to die as well. Episode 3 could be Bran's death. Jon's still avoiding Daenerys. Everyone leaves apart from Tyrion and Bran. Tyrion wants to hear Bran's story and we don't actually hear what happens. And maybe we'll find out in the future. Maybe Bran kind of knows that he's going to die and he's told Tyrion something valuable. Missandei and Grey Worm get some screen time. They were in the first episode, but nothing really happened to them. Missandei tries to talk to some northern children, but they ignore her. Her and Grey Worm's plan is to fight this battle, and if they make it out, they're gonna go to Missandei's home of North once Dany sits on the Iron Throne. Yeah, one of them is not going to make it. Maybe even both of them. Yeah, Game of Thrones has all its dragons and big battles, but it's really the small scenes that make this show. It's the characters that we really love. So I'm just going to say it now, Ghost is back. He doesn't do anything, but he stands behind Jon, Ed and Sam on the wall. It's a shame Ghost hasn't really done much. He's not met Dany yet or done anything at all really. He's just stood there, but at least he's here. I'm just worried they're going to kill him off in the next episode. So this is actually a very funny scene reminiscent about Sam's feat, you know, the fact he's killed a White Walker and a Fen, but Sam's adamant that he's fighting. Samwell Tarly, slayer of White Walkers, lover of ladies. Ed is definitely one of my favourite characters. They talk about the Fallen Brothers, about Pip and Gren. I really love Jon's arc at the Night's Watch, they really felt like brothers. I think Ed is going to die, so it's just going to be Jon and Sam left. So this is one of my favourite scenes in the entire series. It starts with Tyrion and Jaime talking about Tywin's reaction to both sons dying defending Winterfell. They talk about their past in season 1, Jaime being the Golden Lion, Tyrion being a whoremonger. Tyrion kinda misses the old days, but he says them days are done. Brienne and Pod enter next and they sit down for a drink with the Lannister boys. Davos then Tormund arrives, and Tormund was really good in this episode. He's brought his own drink and even suggests to Brienne they spend their last night together. He calls Jaime Kingkiller instead of Kingslayer, and he gives a BS story about why he's called Giantsbane. It's a load of crap, but it's funny. He starts to down his drink and he's spilling it all down his beard. Tormund's always been one of my favourite characters. He didn't really do much in season 7, I was kind of disappointed in his screen time, but like I said, the side characters kind of got neglected, but he's going to be a big part in this battle, but I think it's going to be his last. I think he's going to die in episode 3. This scene does continue later on, but we'll talk about other stuff first. So Arya finds the Hound on the walls, they share a drink together, they're one of my favourite pairings, and they had some of my favourite scenes back in the early seasons. Arya questions the Hound on why he's here. When was the last time you fought for someone other than yourself? The Hound said he fought for her. I assume this is him saying he protected her against Brienne when they didn't trust her, and all their other adventures in the Riverlands. Beric arrives and he was on Arya's list, but it seems like they're not on it anymore. Him and the Hound are no longer on the list. Beric starts talking about the Lord of Light, but the Hound doesn't want to hear that. We get a great line from the Hound about Lord of Light bringing Beric back just for the Hound to throw him over the wall. The Hound mentions that Forrest is not here, so if Beric's going to die, nobody's going to be bringing him back. So Beric's dead in the books, but there must be a reason why they keep him on the show, maybe because he's a badass and he looks awesome with his flaming sword and his eye patch. He gave the kiss of life to Catelyn Stark in the books, he might give that to someone on the show. Arya does leave as she didn't want to spend her last night here. She's practicing with her bow and Gendry brings her a new weapon. It's some sort of double-ended dragonglass quarterstaff. Gendry reveals to Arya that he's Robert Baratheon's bastard and he tells her what Melisandre done to him. Arya wants to know Gendry's sexual history. He says he's only been with 3 girls. Arya wants to have sex with Gendry as she could die tomorrow. When Arya's getting undressed, Gendry notices Arya's scars that she got from the waif. Arya got a lot of screen time in this episode, and a lot of it was showing Gendry that she can fight and hints of what she's been through in the past. I'm a big fan of Gendry and Arya. I'm glad this moment happened. So back to the drinking gang. Tyrion mentions almost everyone here fought the Starks at one point, but now they're defending their castle. Brienne says at least they'll die of honour, and Tyrion jokes that he thinks they're going to live. This episode really makes you feel that everyone knows they're going to die. There's obviously going to be survivors, but a lot of characters are going to get killed off next episode. Tyrion talks about everyone's battle feats. Tormund doesn't actually know why Brienne's not a knight. Tormund doesn't see why women can't be knights, and if he was king he would knight her 10 times over. Now this is an amazing scene, one of my favourites in the entire series. Jaime says it doesn't have to be a king. Knights can knight other knights. Brienne kneels and Jaime knights her. Arise, Sir Brienne of Tarth, a knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I think Jaime and Brienne just have to give in to their feelings now before it's too late. So we jump over to Jorah and Lyanna. Lyanna wants to fight and she's the Lady of Bear Island. Jorah's not going to tell her what to do. It's a very short scene, but I kind of feel Lyanna reminds Jorah that it's because of him that she's forced to lead her people at such a young age. Before leaving, she does say to Jorah, I wish you good fortune, cousin. You could see that's maybe her trying to say, I forgive you. Sam does walk in halfway through the conversation. Lyanna Mormont leaves, and Samwell Tarly gives Jorah his family sword, Heartsbane, which is made from Valyrian steel. I can totally see Jorah dying and Sam picking up Heartsbane and using his family sword, even though he said he can't hold it upright. Sam says that Jorah's father, Jorah Mormont, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, taught him how to be a man and how to do what's right. He says giving Jorah the sword is right. Jorah's going to wield Heartsbane in his father's memory to guard the realms of men. Sam says he'll see him when it's through and he hopes to win. But I don't think it's going to go like that. I think the Night King's going to win and I think Jorah's going to die. So back to Sir Brienne and co. There's no wine left, so Tyrion wants a song. Nobody has one, but Pod sings a very famous song from the books, Jenny's Song, and I got real chills listening to this. It really reminded me of Pippin's song from Return of the King. It plays over several scenes. You've got Sam's family, Sansa and Theon eating outside of the people. Could they become some sort of couple? Gendry and Arya laying next to each other in bed. Missandei and Grey Worm share a kiss before he goes off to lead the Unsullied. Jorah riding with the Dothraki, and then it ends with Jon and Dany inside the crypts of Winterfell, where he reveals the truth to her that he's Aegon Targaryen. Just look at Dany's face when Jon tells her the story. She even backs away from him at one point. She's worried about her claim to the Iron Throne, as Jon has a better claim than her now, you could say. He's the last Targaryen male. But before all that drama happens, the horn is blown 3 times and the dead are here. The Iron Throne doesn't matter, the Night King has come. And the episode ends with Tyrion watching on the walls as several White Walkers ride up. And it looks like there's a lot of them. The Night King doesn't actually appear and there's no Viserion either, probably the CGI budget. They probably used most of it on Ghost even though he done nothing. Drogon and Rhaegal are also missing. I hope they come back in time. Dany needs to call them because the Army of the Dead is here. So this is a really good episode, one of my favourites. It's probably one of the best non-battle or big event episodes in a long time. But I want to hear what you thought about the episode. What's your favourite scene? I love Pod singing Jenny's song and Brienne being knighted by Jaime. Honestly, there was a lot going on in this episode, but it didn't really feel rushed. But now we're looking forward to 82 minutes, the Battle of Winterfell. The Night King's here. It's going to be epic, but it's also going to be sad because loads of characters are going to get killed off. Episode 3 preview next, and if you guys have got any requests for videos in episode 2 or episode 3, just let me know. So as always guys, remember to leave your thoughts in the comments below and then subscribe and like the video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.